We're recording. Thank you both for making the time to be here. First time
Thanks
having
for
three
having
people on, so
us.
this will be interesting.
Yeah.
So you both have started a community called Spirit Calling, and you've been talking about it for a while actually, and it's been nice to see the evolution of it over the last few years of just it being an idea and something that you were called to do, and now actually having it manifested and brought into fruition. But it'd be good just to hear a little bit. I guess if we maybe start with like each of you sharing a little bit about your awakenings, and then come to like a convergence point of like how you then met each other and then created what you've created now, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, that would be great.
Our origin story. It's so nice. I mean, my personal, um, my big life altering awakening period was almost 8 years ago, when out of nowhere, I was at breakfast with friends and felt a squeeze on the back of my head, and blacked out completely, face down on the table. And when I came to, I couldn't see, I couldn't hear, I couldn't find myself, I couldn't feel my body or where I was, couldn't find my feet, couldn't walk. And that sort of was this jumping off point of 9 months worth of exploring traditional medicine versus more holistic practices. And then for me personally, how to mix and match and come up with the best recipe for me, which I think is really important for everybody's healing journey. Everybody has a different experience, so you've got to figure out what works for you. So for me, over that 9 month period, I wound up in a wheelchair with very limited movement on my right side, at palsy on my left side. I was passing out all the time, and I was in excruciating pain. So all the doctors started looking for things like stroke, heart attack, tumor, anything like that, and found nothing. And they just kept saying, it's a migraine, it's a migraine. Let's treat you for a migraine. This antipsychotic medication is good for migraines. When you feel like you're suicidal, that's when you should stop the medication. Absurd. Like, with a clear head now, I look back at that, at the absurdity of that. I look back at that period of time of being, my husband literally locked me in a bathroom with no windows because I kept saying, I need to jump through the window. I need the glass to cut through me. I need to feel that pain. I have to feel it. And then it got to the point where I had a doctor who wanted to drill a hole in my skull to see what was going on and to relieve the pressure on my brain. To which I remember thinking, well, that's sheer lunacy. Who offers that, and then who takes him up on that? But clearly that's a thing. Clearly it's a thing. I mean, if he's even speaking that, it's a thing. And it happens. So that was like my final straw with whole traditional medicine route. And I remember calling my sister. I have very few memories of that year. We
And
call it
what? How
rotten year.
how old were you at that time?
I was 43. I was only 43. How do you look at a 43-year-old woman who is, at the time, I was a swim coach. I was a gyrotonic instructor. I was very physical, very active all day, every day. And then I was told, this is your new way of living. You'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You'll have limited capabilities, limited faculties, and you need to figure out a way forward with services, rather than you need to figure out a way forward into healing. Everybody wanted to give up on me, except my sister, who said, listen, I don't know, but I work with this woman who knows this woman who had similar symptoms and went to this chiropractor, and she did X, Y, and Z, and now she's feeling better. So I don't know. it's crazy to think that a chiropractor and some vitamin C are going to help, but how about you give it a shot? And I did, and it was awesome. I started within a couple of minutes, like within 10 minutes of my adjustment, I started to get my sight back, started to get my hearing back. The only problem with that is it was a hands-on manipulation, and that hands-on manipulation was received by my body as first relief, but then too aggressive. So the muscular structures of my neck couldn't hold the adjustment. So the bone kept sliding out of place. The muscles kept going back to what they were trained to do. And that really set me off on this. Well, and it was my atlas. My atlas was like the ground zero of everything going on in my body. Physicality, physical ground zero. Because the more I started to research what the atlas was, the more I understood that this was an energy center, an entry point for energy to come into the body. And I had a overload, a backlog. So it just shut down, completely shut down, and put me into a place of complete silence. And one day, going to the chiropractor 3 times a week, still not holding, going back into that same, it felt like an echo chamber, you know, going into like a complete sensory deprivation where all I could hear were my own thoughts reverbing throughout my entire being. And I literally broke, and I laid down and sobbed and begged to die, truly. And it was in that moment that I slipped into a deep, deep meditative state, which now I can access with ease. And that's actually the state for channeling. Went into this deep, deep meditative state. And that's when I first heard Spirit's call, right? The voice of God, my higher self, the soul speaking, all of that. I heard it all. And I was given this ultimatum, really, of ask for help and help will come. Ask for help and help will come. Do you accept? And I'm laying on the floor sobbing, having just asked to die and being given this message. And I went, yes, like there is no other answer. Okay, yes, I accept. And after that, I inexplicably, I remember crawling across the floor, getting myself on the couch, opening up my iPad, and ending up in a Facebook group where the very first message was, it is the Easter season, and I am looking for someone to help. Contact me directly if you need help. And then that voice said, ask for help and help will come. Do you accept? Do you accept? And I'm sobbing, saying, I need help. I mean, talk about humility, vulnerability. I was scared to ask for help. And that woman, she wound up showing up at my home, helping me to walk, because I was trying to retrain myself to walk. And she so gently asked me, you know, what happened? Do you mind my asking? And I said, no, it's my atlas. Nobody's ever heard of it. So, but I'm seeing a chiropractor, and this is huge improvement. I can walk, right? Huge. And she looked at me and she said, I know exactly who you should see. There's an atlas specialist. What are you talking about, an atlas specialist? I didn't even know about this bone until 3 months prior. She said there was an atlas specialist, and he's actually just in Morristown. So from where we live, that's 2 towns away. He is 20 minutes away from me, this specialist. And I called that evening, and I always say, you know, when you align your soul's calling with your life, when you align your life with your soul's calling, every obstacle starts moving out of your way, right? So here it was, divine intervention, an angel sent to me to say, this is who you need to go to. This is who you need to see. In faith, because I was riddled with fear. Another doctor, like, what do I need with that? but in faith made the phone call. And the receptionist answers and she says, now this is a doctor with at least a 2-month waiting list. And she says to me, I just hung up with someone canceling for Wednesday. Can you come on Wednesday? This was a Monday night. And I said, yes, yes. And that really started this whole trajectory of, okay, I may feel fear, but I have to choose to move forward in faith. And what does that get me? And every single time it's gotten me more and more and more leveled up in my skills. I am a Psychic Reiki Master. I teach, I share, and participate in holding space for healings. So I have an entire team of guides and ancient healers who work through me. I witness every single day. I get to witness hands-on healing and then distant healing. It's utterly amazing how I went from begging to die, accepting divine intervention, and where I am now, which just literally just keeps getting better. And then one day I woke up, and Pamela will go into the details of this, but one day while working on a completely different project with Pamela, I woke up and heard that same voice who talks to me all the time now, that same voice say, you are to create a portal. You are to create a portal. You are to create a network. You and Pamela are to create a network for souls, for spirits to come, acknowledge and remember who they are, remember how to function from a soul first, and create space for people to awaken, remember, grow, be empowered into their own healing journeys, and empowered to awaken, reawaken their superpower. I call it a superpower all the time. Every soul has one. So that's what we're doing now. That's spirit calling.
Did you have any sense of like mini awakenings before that, or was the main one like 43?
Yeah. So when I teach and talk to people, I say, the universe, which I interchange the words, the universe, God, love, light, your soul, your higher being. The universe, your soul, has a way of tapping you on the shoulder. It's really very gentle. I remember as a kid being told, you have a lot of light inside of you. You shine. You step into a room and you shine. It's like the lights just turned on. And then, later on in my 20s, my sister introduced me to Reiki. She was taking it in college as a course for credit. And she practiced on me. And I was like, well, that was really neat. You made my headache go away. That was cool. And then a few years later, my back went out on me, and my mother-in-law said, you should talk to my Reiki practitioner. We were living in Massachusetts and they were in Pennsylvania, which is a good 6-7 hours away. And my husband always had this ability to make his hands really hot. We just thought it was a neat party trick. Turns out that's him activating his own life force energy to be able to share. So he gets on the phone with her Reiki practitioner and she explains how to activate that energy and help my back. Felt great. Holy cow, felt great. Reiki's really cool. It got rid of my headache, made my back feel better one day. And then I completely forget about it, right? And then I had an out-of-body experience where I nearly died after a surgery. And in that out-of-body experience, I watched my night nurse remove energy from my torso and give new energy, the brightest light I'd ever seen. And I felt it. There I am floating up at the ceiling, feeling warmth and a glow throughout my entire body. And the next morning, the doctors were like, she's going to be okay. She turned a corner, right? So, yeah, I mean, and you would have thought, my sister takes care of my headache. That's like a little tap on the shoulder. Headache, no big deal. Back pain, a little bit more intense. That's more of like a double hands. Hey, pay attention. There's something greater than you in this world that can help. Then I have a near-death experience. That would be like, wake up, right? Like you would have thought. And it did to a certain extent. It got me to the point where I then dove like all in on my gyrotonic training, on really exploring, quickly gobbling up information on what is the best way to help the human body. Still very stuck in the 3D, right? How do I help the human body heal in a manner that's different from traditional medicine? I saw a chiropractor back then. That was really helpful. But gyrotonic really started teaching me the spiral of all creation, the trajectory of the flower of life and how it expands and opens to encompass everything, and then how we're all connected, interconnected, and how your energy helps my energy helps somebody else's energy. So it really did create the framework from which I could then be alert enough, open enough, awake enough to receive, oh, wait a second, now you're going to listen to the voice of God. You're going to actually listen to your own soul and follow that. You're going to follow your spirit's call first and foremost every single time.
And what's gyrotonics for people who don't know?
Gyrotonic is this beautiful movement method. It is everything for your mind, body, and spirit. We focus. It's a focus on the spine, the health of the spine, and then how does the body react to a spine that's in full alignment? So our spine is our channel, right? Our spine is our connection to the divine. You get that in alignment and everything starts coming in. It's just a matter of which opening now, right? So when you focus on in a 3D existence, if you're just focusing on the physical body, gyrotonic helps to strengthen, stretch, open your whole body into a circular motion. It helps you rediscover the natural movements and natural healing capabilities of the human body. I use it in a different way. I layer other things on top of it. I layer other modalities in with it so that what you experience in movement in 3D gets to amplify and work its way out into reducing your stress through your mind, settling down your entire nervous system. Let's go into the emotions. So people who have sessions with me, they cry, they heal on a 3D, 4D, 5D level, mind, body, and spirit.
No, I believe that. I've had it done. I've had the privilege of being there in person with you, and it's phenomenal to feel that in person. By the way, just to let you know, like anyone can jump in anytime. I don't want it to feel like this formal thing where it's like one person at a time. So if any of you want to say anything at any time, just jump into it. But yeah, Pamela, be good
I will share very quickly that
go on.
I'm going to share this really quickly.
Go on, chatterbox over here. Go on.
When I was collapsed on the ground, begging for death, I had a chant on called Ramadasa, and it just turned on my phone. Ramadasa. It's playing right
really?
now. Yes.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Wow. So me and you met 2 years ago. It feels like a lot longer than that, but
I know,
yeah,
it does.
2 years ago, because it was
Yeah.
But yeah, in this body anyway, 2 years ago. But there's so many details to like everything that's happened to you as well, but I'll just let you decide where you want to start from, just to give some context as to kind of why you've then ended up creating what you've created now, and then how everything that's happened kind of in between led up to that.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear Lisa's story, and I wonder, at what years those things were happening to you. We never really talked about my knockdown that much, and that was really truly I didn't have a physical ailment, I didn't have disease and all those things, but the universe took my entire world and collapsed it. So my husband lost his job, we lost our home. Right before that, I was questioning religion. My mind was in a place where I was breaking away from organized religion. And
is this what year is this?
This was like 2008 through 2012.
Okay. Yeah.
I just wasn't resonating with belief systems and, all the things. And when my world got broken and my life got, completely turned upside down, I started understanding like who the real people were in my life and who were staying and showing up and who weren't. And I started understanding so many things. That really is where my big perspective got changed on life. But then I also started to see like this person in my life was going through some of the same big questions I was going through. And it was a client of mine. And we started doing Bikram yoga together. And then we started doing meditative yoga together. And we were reading the same books. And at least I did have that one person to talk to during my awakening. We were talking about this yesterday on our call with our founding awakeners. You don't always have someone that you can share your experiences with or just explain what's going on in your life. I did have this woman, Cheryl. And one thing that happened to me was very early on, I was in a meditation, and it was in the middle of the night, like when I would wake up, and then I would just try to like, meditate a little bit. And I did have a bright light come through my third eye, fill my whole body up with source energy. I didn't know what it was at the time. I felt love. Oof, like you wouldn't believe. My whole body shook, my teeth went, and I felt in the back of my mouth this feeling. And I was on this pursuit to try and recreate that, for years through meditation and all these different things. But when I chose love for myself and my future over fear of staying with my husband, when I chose love for the opportunity and unknowing what was there, but knowing I could create anything that was there for myself, I started understanding the law of attraction, the law of vibration. I started seeing it happen in my life, and I started understanding I am such a strong manifester. I mean, I would sit down and do the exercises to like, I want to release this house that's a burden on us that we can't sell in a failing housing market, and I want it full price. I want an offer full price as is, quick offering. And the next morning I got one. I would start manifesting and understanding things, and then just stepping into love for myself out of fear, love out of fear, love out of fear, over and over and over again, became just the way I was living my life. And then the psychic stuff started. And right before I met you, V, is when I knew, when I saw Rhythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica, I knew I was going there. I knew I was going to do ayahuasca. I knew it. I would say to the universe, how am I going to go travel to another country by myself and do this class 1 hallucinogenic by myself? Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to do that. How? I didn't have to figure it out. I manifested this beautiful person that brought me into this beautiful experience with these high conscious people. And it's like one thing after the other. And that's how you and I met. But during that ayahuasca journey, that week-long plant journey, I had so many shadow, all this trauma from past lives and this life leave my body, and my vibration kept on raising. At the end of that week, I had the light come through the center of through my third eye again, and my head crackled this time, and all these things moved. And I heard at the end of it, your psychic abilities have changed, or things will be different from now on. And I was crying. I lost my breath. I couldn't believe it. And I started having visions, and I started having downloads, and I started having experiences in 2020. Spirit started telling me about things that were coming up on our planet. I started having premonitions, and I started being, visited by entities, and it was a lot in 2020. But one night in the middle of the night, I woke up hearing spirit calling. And I got up and I wrote it down, because I was, not remembering things. And I started saying, you got to write this stuff down. And then after that, I just woke up the next morning. I bought the domain, put it away, just went on with my life. And then I would get downloads that you're going to build a portal for mankind.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, we talked about that a lot in 2020. Yeah.
For humankind. It wasn't just, you're going to build a website, you're going to have it. No, it was, you're going to build a portal for humankind. And their glass ceiling's going to shatter, and everyone's going to wake up at the same time, and they're going to need a place to land. And this is going to be where they go. And you're going to communicate messages, and you're going to help and support people. And I was like, okay, that's a tall order. All right, we'll see about that. And then about a year later, I had another vision, and it was me looking at this iPhone, and this little icon went do, and it landed on the face of the iPhone. And I went, oh my gosh. And I woke up, I got my pencils, I sketched it, and it was a little icon with the colors and the pastels, and it had like this beautifulness to it. So then a couple of days later, I had an issue with my work website. I had to go into the hosting server or the platform. And I saw Spirit Calling. I saw the domain that I bought. And then I went, oh my God, I connected everything. And I went, these are the same. And it was like I was putting pieces of this puzzle together. Then Lisa came into my life. Now, I had met her, I don't know, maybe a couple of years before. We were on the banks of the river. Both of our kids were on crew. And I saw her that day, and I loved how you explained it the other day, that I said hi to you, and I looked at you and I said, I know what you do. Because, you know, we're like in a sea of people that are not conscious, you know, and she's like this bright light, and I just was, you know, drawn to her, and I was like, I know what you do. And she's like, mm-hmm. And she tells the story that she was told then and there that we're going to do something together, but I wasn't ready yet. And I wasn't at that point. I wasn't ready at all. Fast forward to maybe like a year ago, Lisa, I think it was, you came to me and you said, it's time for us to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were repositioning your brand and restructuring your business, and she needed marketing. And you came to me and said, it's time for us to work together. I knew we were going to work together, but it wasn't time. It's time now. And I have always, like, because I'm a creative intuitive, and then I add the layer of the psychic stuff on top of that, I always tap into my clients in a really, like, really cool way. I can see what they're envisioning. I can see it unfold as they're talking, especially visionary entrepreneurs, as they're talking to me. And with Lisa, it was like up-leveling that in a whole other way. It was, I've never worked with anyone this way before, and neither had she. And it was so incredible. But after maybe 6 months of working together, she asked me to hang on at the end of one of our team meetings. And she said to me, I was told that we're to build a portal together to help people through the awakening process. And I was like, oh my God, I know what it's called. It's called Spirit Calling. And I was like, oh my God. And I was so happy that universe had it figured out all along. We were just walking our individual paths, and we came together. We actually came together, I forgot, Lisa, when I was having all those downloads in 2020, they were coming through the back of my head, and I was having a lot of pressure and pain. And my friend said, go see Lisa. And she told me it was my Atlas. I forgot the Atlas thing. Yeah. So she and I have a lot of similarities in regards to, like, we're very similar. We're very much the same person. We have a high happy set point. We're silly. We're both very talented creatively, and I mean, we're a super partnership. And to have someone to work with on such a meaningful project, I'm just so very grateful. When the time did come that, you know, I was able to put more of my energy into it, and we'll get into all of that. Like, you just see things start to unfold faster and faster and faster, because we both have lives, we both have businesses, we both have families, and we're juggling. And but when we do have both feet in, Spirit Calling just elevates and elevates and elevates. And that the momentum the last 2 weeks is crazy. It's so great. It's so exciting. Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way. Oh yeah, it's all in a good way. It's all in a really good way.
You know what's really neat, Vipul, is, so for me, in terms of working for the good of mankind, I see the end game.
Yeah.
I see exactly where we're headed. I see what happens to humanity once we all embrace a soul-focused existence. And I can see the steps that the human needs to take in order to get there. Pamela sees the big picture and all of the obstacles that humankind will need to get through in order to get to the end game. I'm not permitted to see all of those things in as much of a panned out vantage point. And I see them as they're picking up speed, right? It's like we're driving along and she can see what's 5 miles down the road. And I eventually get there, but I can only see it a mile away, right? And this is when, because I see the end game, I know what humankind needs to do to get to a place of peace. I know what this planet needs to do to get to a place of peace. But I don't see all of the different routes that could happen. I see the one. And then as we get closer to those obstacles, Pamela gets to see, she always comes at it with, well, we could take, it's like a choose your own adventure. We have either A, B, or C. And I'm like, okay, well, which path are we taking? Because we still need to get to the end game, but is it A, B, or C? And she's like, I don't know. We have to see, these are the possibilities. Let's see what mankind chooses to do. And then as we get closer, I'm like, oh, they chose B. Okay. They chose B, and now this is the game plan. This is what we need to be able to present to people.
Yeah. And, you know, you were involved in, I mean, we were talking like every couple of weeks during that intense time on our planet, and we were both having a lot of, we were having big discussions. Like we were sharing so much about what we had done to get to the point of where we were, and then what we were experiencing at that time. And it was, Lisa and I say, it was almost like a little taste of what's to come. And you kind of helped me navigate through all that. You asked me so many questions. What do you think that means? I mean, like I had so many water dreams about giant tsunamis coming and waves, and I mean, various different dreams where I always come out unscathed. And like as if they're telling me, you know, it's going to happen, whether it's a wave of chaos, whether it's a literal wave, that we're going to be, and when I say we, I mean, the people that are doing the work on the planet, we're going to be okay.
I remember you sharing those drawings with me as well.
Yes. I mean, like so many things. And the conversations that are happening now are tremendous, because the connectivity has just been, we've been connecting with so many more people now who are seeing the same things that we're seeing now, in all the different aspects of all the different visions that I've had, all of them. And it confirms that, you know, not that it's, you know, it can be a little scary sometimes receiving all that information. So I spoke with a woman
lonely.
And I spoke with a woman yesterday who, we have kind of like the same story. I didn't have a chance to fill you in on that, but that's why we created Spirit Calling, so that it isn't lonely. You know, we didn't have a choice, and we're honored to create it.
It can be scary when it's something that you're going through for the first time in this body anyway. And remembering and not remembering what the symptoms mean. Like, what does this mean about where I'm headed? Is there something wrong with me? Because you can often fall into the category of, oh, there's something wrong with me. Because I've been through my own health stuff, which I've shared on different podcasts before, and with you both individually as well. And going to Western doctors and kind of getting to a point where I'm constantly hitting walls, and I'm getting to this point of frustration. Only in hindsight do I realize that actually I was literally shedding my skin, because I was becoming a different person. I was evolving and leveling up to a different version of who I needed to be, because that part of my journey required something else to show up in a different way. And almost as if it was creating a space and clearing blocks to create this space for new light, new wisdom, new energy to come through, which could then serve the next chapter of wherever I was headed. But if you're not, that's only in hindsight. Like going through it, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Like,
so then to have other people that are there, because I was looking at the website yesterday and scrolling through comments and what the stories people were sharing, and it's nice to have it all in one place. So you kind of feel like, even though these are strangers going through different things around the world, it's overall the landscape is very similar. Everyone's up leveling at a different time. It's going to look different, but everyone's probably feeling a similar way, right? So then to have that
details are different.
Nice.
Yeah, the details are different, but the energy of it is all the same. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
it's
That's
like,
like an obsession for me. Like, stop dealing with the details. The details will always be different,
Yeah.
but the underlying energy, I love the way you put it. You have to clear the way and create space for new, healthy, thriving life energy to come into your, not just into your physicality, but into your entire existence. You know, I tell people, it's like you're going to go into your closet. It's really very full. And before you can buy something new, you have to get rid of something old. So you have to go through and clear out everything that no longer speaks to you. What is the stuff that you've outgrown? What's the stuff that's too big for you? What are the things that you no longer are attracted to anymore? You have to clear the space so that you can welcome in something fresh and something new. It's the same thing, same concept for your physical body, for your relationships, for your job, for absolutely everything that you do
It's
in life.
everything. Yeah.
Same thing.
it's everything.
What it'll be good to talk about, maybe where you think we're headed, where you feel we're headed, and kind of what those short-term versus long-term blocks or visions are about the path that humanity overall is taking.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first? Because that's easier.
Sure. Hers is really cool.
Listen, the end game is living from a soul purposed point of perspective all the time. That means you do what your soul guides you to do, not what I want to do, what I need to do, what am I called to do. I have no choice but to do this in love and in faith, because every human being living from that space creates a peaceful world. Now the energy of every human being is at peace. That creates and amplifies peace throughout on the entire planet and beyond. And then the earth itself gets to heal, because the human is peaceful, no longer generating all of this anger and frustration, which is really heat rising in a body. That heat actually leaves your body, goes into the planet, creates this global warming effect and all of this damage that we're doing. But if you settle yourself down, decrease the inflammation in your physicality and in your energy, bring everything to a new peaceful state of being, then that's a different energy that is around the planet, and we all live in peace. Now, to get there, that's Pamela. Go ahead.
Well, since you were here, I have been, Lisa, we have done a lot of energy work together. And so my vibration has raised and raised, and the channeling has gotten easier and taken on a different form, an additional form, not different, another tool I can use. And
it's grown,
so
it's evolved.
It's grown, and it comes out now in typing. And it's like my fingers are so busy hitting the letters and trying to get these words out that there's really none of the chatter up in here that kind of like holds me back. And the messages are really amazing, like truly amazing. And I don't know if you saw the recording that Lisa and I did recently, where we did a global message of hope.
I haven't listened to it yet, no.
Okay, for future. Should I read it? I don't know. I was wondering if I should find it and read it.
No, I think mainly because the recording of it are the words, but then the explanation, right? If you hear just the words, it could be really very frightening.
Really very frightening. But they say it in a way where they're guiding us. They're telling us the message to guide us, to tell us that they are always here for us and that they are going to assist us, and that something is coming that's going to really shake us to our core. And we say shake us to our core means it's out of vibration with us. It's something we don't understand or resonate with. And but they say that it's necessary to happen, and it's coming very, very soon. And in 2020, they never gave me time frames. They said they are giving me sort of time frames now, which is different. They say something like within days, dear one, within days could mean something different to them than to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Course.
I was going to say, the concept of time is different, but
right. But they never did that before. So I see those subtle differences, and I see the beauty in it, that they're really trying to utilize the portal. I mean, they're in this with us.
Is there a name?
Are building this with us. No, not yet.
Who they are. Okay.
Yeah.
What's neat, Vipul, is that they have, so It's so funny when people ask for a name. They're doing their very best to speak in our really crude, rudimentary level of communication. Because when you're talking about spirit, energy beings who are at such a high vibration, for them to dumb it down, to give us a name, like I always say, it's almost insulting. You know, they want to give us a sound. They want to give us a color. They speak through vibration. They speak through frequency. So the best they can do is give us the letters that create that sound. So when we're talking about speaking with spirit, the interesting thing, so Pamela and I did our very first like conjoined channeling, which was really neat. And in it, they said that they're changing the way people speak to Pamela. People are now calling her Pam out of nowhere, calling her Pam.
It's been happening.
I started doing that.
Yeah, literally, you're not the only. I have done it. I have
Yeah.
typed to her, "Hey Pam, like
Mhm.
what's that all about?" Well, we were told because what they're trying to do is access the Om through her name. They're literally trying to find the frequency, so they're readjusting the letters to make it resonate as much as possible on a frequency level, if that makes sense.
And I'm just going with it.
Yeah, we have no choice.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It is incredible. They did say in one of the channelings, we are a collective of angelic beings.
Yeah.
That was like in one of the channels. And that was like, actually, Lisa, that was in the very beginning of the channeling with typing.
When did you both first start channeling? Like, when did you notice that?
Oh, I've been channeling for, gosh, maybe 2 years now.
And
Years?
also just before you go into that, and also what I think will be helpful for people who are listening who might be going through some kind of spiritual journey, what forms channeling could take as well, because I didn't realize until someone pointed out to me that the words that I was sharing on Instagram, like through the quote cards, is channeling. And I'm because the way I didn't have the words to describe it to her, but I did the best I could. And I said to her, I don't know, like I get these ideas just drop in, and they're just like, okay, maybe I should just type these out. And she was like, you're channeling. I'm like, oh, is that what that is?
Yes. So for me, it was I kept hearing, for me, because typically I have to get hit over the head in order to understand something. I was told like 5 billion times by clients, you have a lot of good information. You should be sharing this information. Why aren't you sharing this information? Is there a way you can share this information? Because what I didn't recognize was that in the middle of working with someone, I would just say something and they would be like, and then working with a friend of mine, she's brilliant. She's brilliant. Kathy Wolf there. I gave her a plug. She's brilliant. She's awesome. She was working out of the studio before having moved to California. And one day she said to me, what do you think? What do you think? You think you want to learn to properly channel? And I was like, yeah, okay. Okay. Like, be careful what you wish for. One, I wished for my psychic abilities to be really spot on. And they are. Double-edged sword, right? Two, sure, I'd like to learn how to channel. So she brought me into her room, close the blinds, shut off the lights, and put on very dim lighting, raise the vibration with certain music, certain scents. And then she guided me through how to channel, which is an awesome journey to take. And so for me, it started with allowing Kuan Yin to speak through me. My voice changed. I felt my entire being get pushed aside. Then I did it again and I felt myself leave my body and stand off to the side. Then I felt myself go into this darkness of solitude and I just sat and I was at such peace and had no idea what she was speaking through me. So Kathy would tell me afterwards, And what I recognized was when I came back out of channel, I was like, did I just go to sleep? Like, what just happened? Did I just take a 3-hour nap? She's like, no, literally you were in a meditative state for, you know, about 3 minutes. That's it. I was like, holy crap. Like, I feel so good right now. So for me, it started with someone being able to guide one of my big guides through to speak. So whoever has the highest vibration is usually the first one to move through you. From there, it became more, the more I worked with it, right, the more I was able to stay semi-conscious as to what was being said. So now they can speak to me. I can hear it, sense it, smell it, see it, all of it, all of the senses, and then be able to relay it. Sometimes they're like, no, you can't translate. This needs to be a hard word for word message. And I share that. And then there's typing where things just completely take over. And I'm literally pushed off into that really quiet space, and it just moves through me very quickly. And I don't know what's been typed up until I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's happening with me with the typing. Yeah. But with the channeling, I started in 2020. And when I was doing the shadow work after ayahuasca, I was actually, COVID came, and I was like, I'm going to go within. I'm not getting stuck on the news and talking to people for hours about it. And I started meditating. And then I started doing like this deep shadow work. I was going through past lives really quickly, and I recorded all of it. I have hours of it. I don't know why I recorded it, because I don't like to listen to it. I don't want to ever listen to it. But I was like burned, I was drowned, all of the, like, I remember feeling like I was a fly on the wall, like watching myself. I was sobbing and releasing and howling and getting rid of all this stuff day after day after day after day. And then my vibration rose, and I think I got to a place where I was able to meet the frequency. And the first time I ever did it, it was light language that came down. I remember, I have it recorded. I remember it was like it just like came in like such a force. And so I had to learn, and I was by myself. There was no one to talk to about this. I was talking to you. And
you came to me once. Remember that? You came to me once, and you were like, I don't know, it just sounds like speaking tongues. And I was like, yeah,
speaking tongues. Yeah. And then I started connecting with different beings, and I started learning how to manage and protect myself. And I had like effervescent angelic beings come in. I had galactic beings come in. I mean, it was crazy. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just trying to do it. But I was learning along the way. Now it's at a place where I really like the typing thing, because it just flows out, and I have no idea what I'm typing, and it's all a mess. And when I go to read it, it's like so powerful. Words I never even use. Words I have to go look up and see what the meaning is. And when you read it within the sentence, it's perfect and beautiful and amazing. And now I'm getting
neat, Fipple, for Pamela is she's so honest. She's so beautiful in how she shares things. And just a couple weeks ago, she was at this ceiling of energy work in her life. And she called me. You called me, and I'm sorry to have to share this, but I am, because you called me in a very vulnerable moment, and you were crying, and you said, I don't want this anymore. I've got all these psychic knowledge, and I don't want it anymore. And I said to you, well, then that just means it's time. Like, it's time for you to level up. You've reached this pressure point where it's either I break and I pull away, or I expand and I continue. I continue on this ascension. And in that moment, I said to her, it's time. It's time for you to attune to all 3 levels of Reiki. It's a really quick, simple way of raising your vibration very quickly. And within hours, maybe a day, she was like, oh, I've settled into this. This is completely different. Oh, I'm fine now. I'm perfectly fine. This is exciting. Yeah. But that's
which confirms what I was saying. In 2020, I retreated. I didn't want to do it anymore. Maybe I stopped channeling. I was like, I'm tired of
I
this.
remember
Like,
that you said
I
there was
have
a long period of time
entities
you
by
weren't.
my
Yeah.
bed and I'm not able to sleep in at night. And it was just too much. And I retreated. I just stopped altogether. So it's actually beautiful to hear that, to be able to witness this now, to hear that, because I'm so glad. But it's time. We have to do it for spirit calling.
Yes.
I want
Yeah.
to do it, but I'm using words. And I mean, I'm honored to do it, but it's necessary to be able to communicate these messages now. Like now, we're communicating messages to people on the portal. It's beautiful to be able to give. And I want us to be the witnesses for the other practitioners who are on the platform. James is pouring out his soul and someone steps up and they're writing replies. And I want them to reach out to each other. I want to support this community. We want to support this community. And in a matter of months, 2 months, we've gone from 2 members, here we are,
Yes.
to 133 people.
134.
Yay, that's another one.
But it's going to keep growing. I think it's like just thinking back to Facebook and the time that came about, when there was a need for connection. Based on where we were as a society and the distance between people, and like smartphones started to become a thing. So it came at the right time. And I feel like now the conversation is leveling up such that people are going through awakenings. And so a new platform that has the intention for that in a new way needs to be created. And I just, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The timing is right for it. And you have both been components in bringing that together in your own way, and it's been nice to see it come together and to be a part of the journey as well. What do you feel is the vision for it, if you have a vision for it as it stands right now?
Good question.
Literally what you just said, it's the new Facebook. It's taking that concept of connectivity and raising it up to a vibration where everyone is kind and supportive and uplifting, instead of so mean and being some sort of keyboard warrior of some sort.
And a control mechanism for the masses with news.
And a control, exactly. right
self-sabotage and all those things. It's
of that
complete opposite of that.
It's the intention with which it's infused, which makes
exactly
like it just feels like it's a supportive place for people to come to from all over the world. So, but do you feel like you'll have in-person events and things like that in the future as well? Because I feel like there'll be a craving for that.
We do. We have a vision for what this platform is going to be, and because people came to us organically, we had to create a temporary site, and that's what's active and live right now and thriving. But behind the scenes, Lisa and I are working with someone to create the user interface to help us build this platform correctly. And we want to build it just like a foundation. It has to be built well from the ground up, so that when the capacity comes, it can hold it, because the capacity is going to be vast. And it's got a phased approach. It's got a membership aspect to it, where people will pay to be a member. But right now it's free until we reach 200 members, and we're really getting there quickly. There'll be tools, there'll be communication once a month where people can interact and have questions or get read or get Reiki. And then the phase 2 of it is like an affiliate component, where we're bringing in other supporters, other strategic partners to help support the community. And phase 3 is lifestyle. It's live the call.
Absolutely.
And it's, we already have, the wheels are already in motion. There's already people that are creating these, these destination experiences that are high vibration. They're already talking with us. It's like the blueprint starting to be drawn. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's the big picture and where we are now.
I love that. So what's the best place for people to find out more information on all that kind of stuff right now?
Yeah, that would be on our website. I'm sitting outside and the flies are, I'm like, the flies are not going to bother me, nor is the heat. You can visit us at Spirit Calling. It's spirit-calling.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's our temporary site. And then we are
Follow us on Instagram,
Instagram.
spirit_calling. Yeah.
YouTube is a really good one. You're going to have to search us because we don't have our custom URL yet, but we will soon. And then we are on
Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook, which is Spirit Calling Live the Call. All one word. Yeah. But if you come to the website, spirit-calling.com, there are links to the Facebook, links to the Instagram. I'll work on getting the links to the YouTube up there. That's on my to-do list. I keep forgetting. But that's going to be really interesting. I mean, we just started with these with channeled messages and putting them up on YouTube. So we only have the first one up there. It's a doozy. It's so wonderful. But as we are it's really as Pamela is called to share information. Her team of spirit have messages that need to get to humanity. So those are the ones that we're sharing on the YouTube channel. My team is more of how can I help you, or you, the collective, remove all of the bullshit and just move forward and get to peace. Like, how can we do some self-care to the highest extent? That's my team. Go in, take care of things, move it, clear it out. Now, let's go. Get going in your life, be a better person. Next, right?
Heal your
Pamela. Yeah. And that's that, get out of 3D as quickly as possible. So,
and the global messages for humanity, which we, you can't take a message like that and just throw it out. It doesn't make sense. That would be us not doing our job. We thought about it. We discussed it at length in our approach. And we thought that it would be really valuable for not just the community. When you read it and you hear it, you'll understand that this was a monumental thing that we had to do.
Message.
Spirit calling for the elevation of humanity, but the elevation of spirit calling. We had to put this out there. I had to step out of fear and courage to do this. This was a big deal for me to do personally.
Huge for you.
And but it was us breaking it down, discussing it and talking about it. So we handled it with kick gloves, like we really did, knowing we had to do it. It's almost like it needed to be time stamped. It needed to be put somewhere, and the message says it. So when you, I think everyone should go find us on YouTube. It's called
I agree.
Spirit Calling, a global message of hope for humanity. For future events, a message of hope for humanity for future global events. I know I should have had that memorized.
That's okay. I was like, ooh, that sounds good. That was wrong. That one sounds good too.
You can put a link in the.
I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the description. But I'm really proud of you both for embodying Live the Call.
Thank you.
That is what it's about. Like stepping up and following that voice inside and allowing it to guide you to be the fullest expression. I always wonder, what would life look like if everyone was living from a place of their gift? That would just be heaven on earth. That's what it would be.
That's the end game.
Exactly. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So thank you both for taking
some
the time
fantasy.
to share.
It's not you dream about it. No, it's real.
Yeah. And before we close, our next call for our Founding Awakeners was about awakening symptoms, and his story is a really good one.
Yeah.
Physical symptoms and all that stuff. And maybe we should discuss how that could work together, maybe.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot recording.
Oh, I'd love to.
That's something that I think should.
That's
brilliant. I trust that if it's coming through to you now, then it's the right time to say it. So I love that. I would be honored to help. Just let me know.
You are a part of Spirit Calling. You have been from the inception, and we thank you and honor you for holding space for us.
I'm infused in the DNA. I'm infused.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
You are.
Well, let's leave this here. This wonderful conversation. It feels like the perfect time to close. When the time is right, we'll do a second one and talk about kind of where how things have progressed and where you're headed.
Maybe we'll be discussing that video that we made and what happened in the world. I laugh, but I'm sort of. But thank you so much for the.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
Okay.
It's always a